In this video, we're going to be taking a look at creating a chevron rhinestone pattern. And it's actually quite simple to do. What we're going to do here is, first of all, let's take a letter, for example. And let's just take the letter M. Let's go ahead and open up our font manager here in EasyStone. And let's look for a font called Freshman. So there's our letter M. Now, I want this letter M to be, let's do, I don't know, tell you what, let's do this. Let's do LHRS, okay? And I want the overall width to be 10 inches. So there we go. So this is what I want to create, but in a chevron pattern. So the kind of the first thing you do when you're creating your chevron pattern is figure out what you're actually wanting to fill with chevron. And then we'll actually create the pattern. So we'll go ahead and grab our 2-point line tool here in CorelDRAW. And usually what I do is I just draw this line however you want to. Let's just kind of be silly and just draw it like that, okay? Because I want to show you that it doesn't matter. You're just drawing a line. That's all you're doing, okay? So we'll just go ahead and stretch it. But now that we have this line, I'm going to flip it over. And if you hold your control key down, it'll kind of snap and mirror perfectly. And then if you right click, it'll make a duplicate. So once you have 2, we'll make 4. Once you have 4, we'll go ahead and make 8. And once you have 8, yeah, 16, we got 32, and so on, right? So once you have that, then it's a matter of, okay, well, how, what kind of chevron pattern do you want? Do you want something like this that's really, really tight? Or do you want something that's a bit more loose? How do you want it to be? And then, of course, you want, well, how much do you want to scale it? So if you kind of picture your chevron letters there, I'll tell you what, let's make these a different color. Push those down, shift page down. So then we just come back in here and we just kind of position this and kind of get a feel for, well, how big of your chevron pattern do you want? So once you kind of figure out what you're going to do, now there isn't a lot of room really in this lettering, as small as it is, for a decent chevron pattern in rhinestones. If we go and add rhinestones to this right here, let's see here, let's go ahead and you can see we get 5, I guess is what we get, which isn't terrible, but that's sufficient anyhow. So then what we want to do is we want to go ahead and offset this group, but I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to right click on ban, which is break at nodes. But if you right click, you can see there it tells you in the instructions, if you right click, it joins that as one path. Okay, so then we'll go ahead and take that, and what we're going to do is set our nudge value at 6 millimeters. Done enough rhinestone designs to know that that's the proper offset value. So we'll go ahead and select the path, hit the plus key on my keyboard, and then nudge up with my arrow key. And you can see plus key, nudge up, plus key, nudge up, plus key, nudge up. Okay? So the first 2 lines we're going to apply crystal stones to. Okay? Alt AS. The next 2 lines up from that, we're going to apply black rhinestone. So we just right click on black, Alt AS, and then one more time on crystal. Okay, so that kind of is the beginning of our rhinestone pattern, chevron pattern. And we're going to go ahead and delete our stone paths and check for any overlapping stones, which were there were some. And then what we're going to do is just take that pattern and just hit spacebar to make a duplicate. Let's see what it does there. We'll just go ahead and right click to make a duplicate. So we're just going to move it up. And actually you can also hit, once you've done that once, you can just hit Control D and see what it does. It just keeps on making duplicates. And so that is essentially how you go about making your chevron pattern. So then what we'll do here is, I tell you what, I like to work with symmetrical patterns. So we'll make this symmetrical. And we'll make this symmetrical. So now it's symmetrical. So you can see it comes up and it comes up, not up and then down. It goes up and up. So there you go. Okay, so if we wanted to, I don't know, let's just say, for example, we want to take this, I don't know, let's just say we want to do a letter T. Okay, we want to do the T in Chevron. Well, and then the T we're going to do an 8-inch T. Okay, you can see that this will fit totally inside our chevron pattern, is big enough to fill that letter T. So there you go. So that is how you go about creating your chevron pattern. You can see this one is a bit more up and down than some of the others you've seen, but you can make it however you want to and experiment. There's all kinds of different chevron type patterns that you can make, quite easily. You could leave a little bit of space between it. You could add a third color. You could even play around with different sizes. So like one you'd do in SS10s and one you'd do in SS6s. That could be fun. Or maybe you do 2 rows of SS10 and then 1 row of SS16 or even SS20. That could be fun. So lots of different options there, but definitely take the time to experiment. You might just stumble across something you really like. Thanks for watching.